Good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show, Thursday edition, where we focus on governance, policy and politics. We apologize for bringing the program later. This was due to some technical circumstances beyond our control. However, we have to go ahead with the program as scheduled. Now, we'll go straight into the segment we call the Health Corner, so that we can get what the doctors have on this segment. As usual, I'm Patrick Soko, your usual host, and I'll be with Sharon Kalimbula, and we'll have quite a number of interviews on the program. So let's get straight into our first segment, the Health Corner.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. This week we are talking about alcoholic liver disease, abbreviated as ALD. So we've been talking about, yesterday we talked about some of the signs and symptoms of ALD. We say that people with ALD can have symptoms of someone who has an infection, so they might have vomiting, nausea, fever, and sometimes they might also experience what we call hematemesis, where they are vomiting blood, and when the alcohol affects the nervous system, they might have these tremors or shaking movements in their hands, and they might even end up having seizures because of the alcohol that they are taking. So today we'll discuss how is alcoholic liver disease diagnosed in the hospital and how is it treated. So most of the times when somebody has alcoholic liver disease, they don't even know that they have alcoholic liver disease, so they will not even go to the hospital for checkup. But once they are found with the alcoholic liver disease, what the screens that are done in the hospital is that we need to check your liver function. How is your liver functioning? Most of the times the liver function is very high. You find the tests that are done on the liver, they are elevated. So you might have elevated bilirubin, which is the chemical that causes the yellowing of the eyes and also the skin sometimes. So there's elevated bilirubin, there's elevated enzymes of the liver. So the enzymes that are found in the liver are also very high because they are overworking and they have to do so much work to break down the alcohol. So the other tests that are done are tests that are supposed to screen other infections. So it's not only alcohol that can affect the liver. There are so many other infections that can affect the liver, but mostly it's the hepatitis viruses. So there are viruses called hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E that affect the liver. So these viruses can also present like alcoholic liver disease. So we need to screen to check if it's not any of these viruses that is causing this presentation. So the other thing that can be done is to check the size of the liver. Most of the times for people who are taking excess alcohol and have alcoholic liver disease, their liver tends to become bigger in size. So they might, because of the inflammation, the liver becomes bigger in size. And so on abdominal scan, which can be done in the hospital, it will show that the liver is mostly bigger than it usually is. So these are some of the tests that can be done to check for alcoholic liver disease in the hospital. But most of the times it's the diagnosis is made just upon getting the results for the liver function and just how the patient presents, because you'll be able to see some of the signs that somebody has been has alcoholic liver disease, and also with the history of alcohol intake. So if the patient gives history that they take alcohol and also in excessive amounts, then they are most likely having alcoholic liver disease. So for the treatment of alcoholic liver disease, so usually the treatment is that the patient has to stop taking alcohol or reduce on how much alcohol, but mostly we just advise people to stop because it's very hard to reduce, especially if you have been taking it in excess, because you might say you'll be reducing, but alcohol is very addictive and you continue or go back to taking it in excess amounts again. So we usually encourage them to stop taking alcohol, and once you stop taking the alcohol, the liver itself will just regenerate. It will grow back, and it will do that over some months. So some months have to go by for it to be able to regenerate and come back to its normal working state again. So we encourage people to stop taking alcohol. The other thing is that we encourage them to eat a healthy diet. So for people who have alcoholic liver disease, they might have low levels of protein and low levels of other vitamins and nutrients. So we advise them to take a healthy diet that is rich in protein and other essential nutrients in the body. We can also supplement some of the nutrients, especially thiamine, which is vitamin B6. So this is the vitamin that is very important for our bodies, and for people who take alcohol, especially in excess alcohol amounts, their thiamine levels usually decrease or they reduce in the body. So we tell them to take vitamin B, which will help to boost the thiamine levels, and also folic acid and so many other nutrients or supplements that can be given to people who have alcoholic liver disease. So they need to be given some supplements that can help to boost the liver to be able to function properly again. So apart from that, for people who have complications of alcoholic liver disease, they will have to be treated. Those complications have to be addressed and have to be treated. So depending on whether they are vomiting blood or they are swelling, their bodies are swelling, then it means that that complication has to be treated. So some medicines might be given to people who have swollen legs or a swollen abdomen that can help to reduce that swelling, to bring it back to normal. And if somebody is vomiting blood, there are some procedures that can be done to help to reduce that vomiting or to stop the vomiting, basically. So those are some of the things that can be done in the hospital to help patients who have alcoholic liver disease. And then the most important thing is that they have to undergo counseling. People who take alcohol have to go through some counseling with a counselor, a psychiatrist most of the times, to help them to make better life choices. And they might be taking alcohol maybe because of something that has happened in their lives and they're not able to express themselves, they don't have anyone to talk to, and so they resort to alcohol consumption. So they need to undergo some counseling for whatever that they might be going through that is really affecting them and they are not able to share with others. They might be able to share with a counselor or a psychiatrist. So it's important that they take your relatives or the person that you are with that has alcoholic liver disease through the counseling process. Offer your support as family members, because sometimes you might they might start feeling like there's something wrong with them, and they might start feeling like they are maybe mad or something. But it's important that they understand that it's just a condition that needs them to get help, and counseling is one of those things that they need help with. So yeah, today we've been talking about the treatment and the diagnosis of alcoholic liver disease. We said some tests can be done in the hospital to check the liver function, and most of the times it's very high. And also we say that a scan can be done to check the size of the liver, and For the treatment, we said some medications can be given to supplement the liver and how it's functioning, to bring it to its normal function. But the major treatment is for the person to stop taking alcohol. So if you are one of those that are taking alcohol, and many people I know take alcohol, so if you are taking alcohol, start reducing on how much alcohol you are taking. And also we say that they would need counseling, so it's important that they get counseling from a counselor or a psychiatrist. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
Well, interesting. There you have it. That was our Health Corner with Dr. Mufaya there. Quite an interesting topic, talking about out, and I hope you managed to learn one or two things. They are quite interesting aspects in terms of how alcohol abuse can affect your liver, and that is something that we need to pay attention to, because at the end of the day we need to ensure that we keep healthy and fit. Now also quite interesting, we'll be having the money market on the other side, but before we do that, we are going to just zooming one of the stories, and that's a story where we are looking at Darling Combo, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, who was actually lifted the suspension for the council. That's a Kafue Town Council, and we'll be back on the other side after this story.
Irregularities in the local authority, otherwise publicly known as the councils, are not new, as most of the councils countrywide have at one time been on the chopping board from the apparent ministry responsible for local government. Lusaka and Kitwe were not so long ago under the knife through a suspension which revealed irregularities involving land dealings. Most recent, Kafue Town Council was suspended on similar allegations by the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, aimed at paving way for investigations. Mr. Nkombo told the media Wednesday that preliminary investigations revealed a disconnect between the council and the Ministry of Lands, hence having such illegal activities.
Of the foregoing, my ministry will now undertake measures to ensure that all these above irregularities are addressed as soon as possible. Some of the measures will include a very close collaboration between the Kafue Town Council as well as the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to harmonize the issuance of plots to our citizens. This particular revelation about the disconnect between Kafue Council and the Ministry of Lands is a detail that we must check with all other local authorities, and our suspicion is that the situation is on all fours. Further, my ministry, through the Local Government Service Commission, will take appropriate measures of any member of staff who may be found wanting in the illegal issuance of plots in Kafue.
The council has served its 3-month suspension, which has been lifted.
In the meantime, pursuant to Section 56(3) of the Local Government Act number 2 of 2019 of the laws of Zambia, I hereby now lift the suspension that Kafue Council was serving with immediate effect. Ladies and gentlemen, in light of the foregoing, I wish to take the opportunity to issue a stern warning to all the councils that the ministry will not hesitate to prosecute any irregularities and penalize anybody who is found wanting. I wish also to make an appeal to our citizens in the same manner and in the same breath, that please make it your responsibility to ensure that you follow the laid down procedures in the acquisition of land.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Earlier this week, Zambians were treated to unusual news on the charge and arrest of High Court Judge Wilfred Muma, aged 58, of State Lodge in Chongwe District, for the offense of willful failure to comply with the law or procedure or guidelines relating to the allocation and disposal of property. According to the Zambia Police, Judge Muma is alleged to have expired and cancelled the title for property in Hoodrance area belonging to the Zambia Army and later offered it to the Patriotic Front registered trustees, a body corporate registered under the Perpetual Succession Act 186 of the laws of Zambia, and is expected to appear in court soon. But United Party for National Development member and former Mufumbwe constituency member of parliament Stephen Masumba has told a press conference in Lusaka Wednesday that the gesture is a reflection that no one is above the law.
He deserves to answer on those charges because it's not an exceptional to the rule of law. I mean, the general rule is that when you violate the law, you must face the wrath of the law. And you remember that even me, when I was being tried, I had graduated way back in 2001, in 2003, you know? But I was tried after 10 years down the line. So, members say, and in Kaonde, we still use the same language.
He has further urged the President Hakainde Hichilema to remove Judge Muma from his office so that he can clear himself before the courts of law.
And therefore, I call upon President Hakainde Hichilema to be faster on this matter, to ensure that, first of all, he must be removed from the position that of a judge. He must be suspended. He must be suspended from the position of judge, and Kopa Muma must also be heard and be tried by the Judicial Service Commission, so that once it is exhausted, then to me, it will be better. The problem that we have with African politics and Zambian politics together is that people don't choose to resign on their own on moral grounds.
In the meantime, Mr. Masumba has urged UPND officials to stop sleeping and rejoicing over the 2021 general election victory and assist President Hakainde Hichilema in explaining what he terms as progressive government policies.
Let's avoid this situation of leaving the president, His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema, in the firing range. We shouldn't expose him. The president must be the last person to speak. The president must be the last person to defend or to do some damage control after the younger ones have made mistakes. Therefore, I call upon the UPND leadership. The time to slumber, time for honeymoon is now over. It is time for us to ensure that we get back to our people. We ensure that we begin explaining about the good things. Because when you talk of the rule of law, it has to be explained in totality.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka. Well, there you have it. Quite interesting stories there that were in the Camnet main news. Now is the right time for us to have our first interview of the day. And in the studio, I've been joined by the Coach Drivers Union of Zambia, President Mr. Lackford Nkana, who is going to help me discuss the impact of pirate taxis on coach bus drivers. And this is the topic we are looking at with the CODUZA president. And welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Patrick. Good morning.
Good morning. We would like to thank you for honoring our invitation. First of all, just to bring us up to speed as the Coach Bus Drivers Union, what have you been to this past few months, and what have you lined up for the year 2023?
Well, Patrick, 2023 we have a lot of program that we have outlined. And firstly, this same February, before the end We are going to have our annual general meeting so that we can analyze some of the policies. We also have a program which we have just started. It's on the way with ITC to take our members for driver's refresher courses. Because as a PSV driver and those mandated to carry the lives of the people, we feel that we need to be more competent when we go about handling our job and our passengers. So we have engaged the ITC, of which some of the letter has already been written. They have accepted the deal. So we are only waiting to have a memorandum signed. Then our drivers bayamba ku takoma refresher courses.
Why are those refresher courses important?
Patrick, refresher courses are important because it's a reminder which needs to remind us, because when you are doing the same things year in, year out, at some instances you begin to forget some of those more important components to help you in learning or to maintain your professional. So we have thought it wise to say, looking at how some of us were coming into this industry, others just coming from driving IFAs, canters, others just come from the minibuses, they upgrade their licenses, and then today you find them there in a coach covering long distance across the country. So we thought it is that as a union, professionalism should not be compromised. So we want to have a sector whereby even when you go about or you decided to travel, you should travel with a peace of mind. Thank you.
Interesting. Now, let's get now to our main topic of discussion for today. How has the aspect of pirate taxis affected your members and the transport sector in general, Mr. Nkana?
Thank you very much, Patrick. This issue of pirates has really negatively affected our sector. Drivers and the bus owners are equally affected. You know, I can just speak, for example, a Livingston route. You find that Livingston route has these most modern bus stations. You find there's a new station in Mazabuka, there's a new station in Monze, there's a new station in Choma, Kalomo, till you reach Livingston. So what really happens, you find that if the bus will leave the intercity station with maybe 30 passengers, or in this season less, it is difficult to fill up those remaining seats, because each and every station you reach, you find these wishes and knowers are busy piloting across the whole province, from Lusaka across to Livingston. So you find that even when you go to the station, the same belt station, new station, instead of you picking up the passengers, which will also add both to the local authority and to you, the bus operator, even the driver, to make up the end of the day cashing, you find those things are not there, because you go to the station, you just bypass the station, nothing. Maybe you pick only one passenger. Next station, you drop. You are only dropping and dropping and dropping. People are disembarking, but you are not picking people to repress or to fill up the seats. So this has negatively affected both the drivers and the bus operators, because the bus owners are even find it difficult to maintain their buses, whereas the fuel is expensive, spares has gone up, Then you find that the bus left the station with a few number of people, expecting that when I reach this station, I'll start picking up people to add on. You find nothing like that happening. So really, piracy has really affected our sector.
Okay. Now, but how do you think various authorities can play an effective role to ensure that it is addressed? What would you recommend? What sort of action is needed?
I think the action that the authorities can help this sector, because if you just left it the way it is, I don't see a near future where we are going to have the growing of this industry, to say, because what I can see that our sector, if the authorities is not going to step in and help us fight this piracy, what I can say as for now, Mr. Patrick, today for you to travel going across the country, it is an optional. You have the rights to choose which mode of transport you are going to use. You may want to travel from Lusaka going to Nakonde, and you say, okay, tomorrow I'll be going to Nakonde. What am I going to do? Okay, I'll just go by Mandev and board a truck. I'll reach Nakonde. Okay, I'm going to whatever area. I'll just jump in a private car. So the authority need to come in. One, those private vehicles that are carrying these people are not really insured, because all of us, we have seen how many people that are on daily basis dying in these wishes, smokers and knowers, where you find that a smoker, which is supposed to carry about 4 passengers, it is carrying 9, 12 passengers. And people are dying every day. The authority is quiet. Moreover, in those buses, you know the difference between those smokers and the coach buses. The coach buses is full insured to compensate every passenger on board in case there is an accident or any injury. You will be compensated. Then secondly, in our coach buses, we have what we call manifest, which we issue the manifest, whereby your particulars are left by the departing point, or either in the bus there's a manifest indicating that in my bus or at seat number so we have Mr. Patrick Soko. So in case of anything happened, we just go retrieve the manifest. Or in this bus, there are Mr. Soso, Miss Soso, so that you are able even to notify the next of kin. Or we had your relative in the bus, and unfortunately the bus has involved in accident, and so we are here to inform you that your relative, this is what has happened, these are the conditions they are in now. Now, coming to this piracy, where you just board by the lay-by. Sometimes you board the bus, you even forgot your particular, like a national registration card. When something happened there, these are main things that people maybe in an unfortunate way, they die in accident. You find in one mortuary, someone will be there for a month without being identified. You see, Mr. Patrick. So this is because we have allowed this illegality to go on for a long time. In some areas, you find like Chingola going to Solwezi, northwestern route. You find that there are those trucks with a big cabin, whereby just in a truck, just a truck, we rode about 12 passengers, 15 passengers in the truck, and they are passing the checkpoints where the police are. This has really bring about an undesired situation that is happening in our country. But I want to implore the authorities to find the means, like coming up even with the SI, which will regulate these public and private, or say pilots. Because if the SI is brought in, like to say, a private vehicle, a private car, if, for example, I am going somewhere with my family, in a distance that is above 50 kilometers, maybe if there is a system to say, I need to get a permit where my relatives and the people I'm carrying, their particulars will be on the permit that will be going to this place either for vacation, either for funeral, or for whatever program. We are going there with our particulars on permit, so that whatever that happens, or at checkpoint, or let's see the particulars of the permit for the people you are carrying. And that, I believe, will help our sector and help the nation at large.
Interesting, Mr. Nkana. Now, I also want to bring to your attention one of the aspects that you've been fighting for as a union. First of all, I want to find out, where are we in terms of the status of the union? Are you now fully operational, or where are we in terms of the recognition agreements with some of the operators?
Yeah, we are fully operational now. Yeah, I think we, our employers, the transporters, has realized that our union has come for good, and not to bring anarchy in the sector, not to bring down the businesses, but to help even them, the transporters, so that they can run their business smoothly, especially where we are able to help ourselves as drivers and educating one another. The issues to do with safety, road safety, wear and tears on our vehicle we are driving. So, yeah, many of them has come on board to recognize the union now, and we have only a few that have remained. And we believe by the second term, it will be the thing of the past.
Interesting.
Sure.
Thank you very much. As we wind up our conversation, Mr. Nkana, I also want to just bring to your attention, we understand that you've been in partnership with the Zambia Police. We saw you last time taking a march to against accidents. And how are you working towards sustaining such initiatives, and what are you doing about it for this year, considering that we still continue to see quite a number of high road fatalities?
No. First, in the first place, let me just recommend the IG for the move he has taken. I think our current IG understands better in terms of how accidents can be reduced, because he realized that the driver is the key player. And the only solution is to bring driver closer on board, remind him of his responsibility. And say the truth, the drivers were very grateful to the IG. They say it has never happened before. And we feel now government realizes that we have our people on the ground who are carrying our citizens from and to across the country. Coming to the issue of how we are relating with the police to end this accident.
And rats as well.
Yes. You know, the Zambia Police, especially traffic sector, traffic section, and road safety and transport agents, and ourselves, we feel these are partners in the issue to do with the road safety on our roads, because like the way it is in the field, you have the team manager, you have the technical bench, you have whatever, and then you have the players on the ground, on the pitch. We are the players on the pitch. So we really need the help of the authorities. Even want them to understand what really are challenges that we are affecting, or that affect us in line with our daily bus operations. When you say we have been engaged by the authorities and you are still seeing the accidents happen there.
Yeah, we know awareness do happen, awareness interventions do happen, but what are some of the long-lasting solutions to these accidents on the road?
The long-lasting solution to the accident, I think, is maybe where the government can come up with a system whereby every license holder, even yourself, Patrick, if you want to get a driver's license, I think the most important thing government should put as a mandate is to see to it that you go for defensive driving before you are issued with a license, or mandating the all these driving schools, all driving schools in the country, to put the first priority on their driving lessons, defensive driving. This is one thing that, to me myself, it's what I have noticed as the one major effects of many accidents. Because you find that you, as a defensive driver, yes, you are going quite all right. But here is someone who doesn't know what he's doing on the road. He doesn't know the requirements of the highway. But he have a license. So these are the people that brings about distractions. At the end of the day, the accidents are happening. Then also generally, we need to try to educate all sectors on the road, especially about discipline when we are on road. Accommodate others when you see things are not conducive for you. Maybe just one more about you have seen accident. I just want to state this, that yes, we had been recording accidents in Zambia in the coach industry sector before. But from the time we came up with an association, then union, which is about 2 years, yes, the accident has been there, but fatalities has been reduced in coach buses sector. I think maybe 2 or 3 buses, or not more than 5, in the course of 2 years, that has been involved in accident that claimed the number of lives. On that one, we congratulate ourselves that we have done something, though the public can't see it, but we have done something that has helped us to reduce many accidents on the part of coach buses.
Interesting. Your concluding remarks, Mr. Kano.
My conclusion remarks, I would like to appeal to our authorities, that's Zambia Police, Ministry of Transport, that we aim to see a one mode of transport which will be more reliable. We aim to see a reliable mode of transport for each and everyone across the country. And for this to be achieved, we expect the authority to engage us more in main issues pertaining to road and safety of passenger transport, and identify the challenges that we are facing that may cause one or two unwanted situations in the sector. So, yeah, the government, of course, need to help us, and even the police on all checkpoints across the country, all stations. They should help us so that we manage this sector and move our people from to in a good environmental manner.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nkana. We thank you for making it for the program. We hope you will be available when we call you again.
We are very much available, Patrick, and it is my pleasure to be accorded this opportunity to share with you one or two things. Sure, thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, there you have it. We're talking to CODUSA President, Mr. Lackford Nkana, and we'll just go in and zoom in one of the stories that was making the headlines in the Camnet menus, and this is a story where the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU National Coordinator Gabriel Pauline, says solving the flooding problem in Lusaka permanently will need a proper city planning, as most houses are sitting on drainage land. Let's zoom in this story and we'll be back on the other side with another interview.
Floods that have hit not only far-flung areas of Zambia but also the capital city Lusaka have negatively affected citizens, with some being displaced due to their houses falling. The greatest concern has been sanitation, as most people have been unable to access the toilet facilities as these too have been flooded, with some pit latrines being submerged. The situation has also led to Kamala South Health Post being shut down. Wednesday, 15th February 2023, the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU visited some affected places in Lusaka, among them Kamala South, Mass Media, Parliament Motel, as well as part of Arcades, to assess the situation. DMMU National Coordinator Dr. Gabriel Pauline says the general observation is that most houses are sitting on places meant for drainages, leaving the areas with no drainage system, a situation which will require long-term measures. He states that as an immediate solution, the water will be directed to well-established drainage systems like the Bombay drainage, and that powdered chlorine will be distributed to prevent the spread of disease.
So what we're doing is that we're providing things like granular or liquid chlorine to help these households cope with potential contamination that's taking place in their water. But we're also encouraging them to look at ways where they can integrate in communities that are not adversely affected until the water recedes. So we are trying to engage the community through what we call stakeholder involvement. The communities are the ones that are adversely affected. The communities sometimes can be the solution to problems that they face. So we continue to engage those communities in that particular way. But at the same time, we're ramping up our efforts in order to ensure that we can avoid any spread of diseases. We are also trying to see if we can provide temporary shelter for clinical services to continue being provided for communities. But the problem that is presented at the clinic there is that we are pumping out the water. It's just the pace at which this pumping out is taking place that is not as fast as the rapidity of the water filling into that area.
Meanwhile, Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu has advised residents to give room to authorities as they correct the situation.
There's too much resistance. Other people have built along maybe where the drainage is. Yes. So when you ask them that you need to break their wall fences or what, they resist. So we are asking that may they cooperate, because if they don't, they will all be affected. The other thing which I want to maybe ask the owners of the houses is that we have seen people coming out of their houses barefooted. It is not good again. Please, let's make sure that we protect our children, our relatives. Let them not swim in this dead water.
In the meantime, furrows are being dug to reduce flooding in the affected areas. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Campasa is a village in Chongwe district hosting a population of over 2,000 families on a 20-hectare space. The village has been in existence from the period before Zambia's independence and was owned by a white settler identified as Rensburg Michael Arnold Johnson. However, after the deportation of the then owner, Mr. Arnold Johnson, in 1976, a man identified as Galonia resided on the land and claimed part of it while conducting farming activities as alleged by the residents of Campasa village until some years later when he died. They have further explained that with Galonia's son Michael on the land after his father's death, the residents lived together as Michael took over his father's farm, leaving 168 hectares for the residents, which in the period between 2010 and 2012 is alleged to have been taken away from them by Chongwe Member of Parliament Sylvia Masebo and alleged partner identified as Lictor, whom, as explained by residents, was Michael, Galonia's son's caretaker.
Tinangala pano pantawi itali ineneza uchoka pano kuskuru kwenda kukasisi nakulira ku area kuno nazimai kapamu ngaoni kunkalamba zone kapasaiti zakulira pano so nadaba kutikali kunkhala madeza kumbuyo chaka mungwelele kukafika kufezu 1 kuja kuchoka kuno kwenda kuzedenisi kuja palupili papenzo nkhala wakapokola kuja kwenzo kambati mabroko chanchanchani yose ze area ya muntu umozi so manje paka mwapato antu akuno nje tinalenga sotaya na malo winangwa ya guli
2012 kufika 2013 wanatiletera bakapokola kuno ife benango tilala all my leaders balino Campasa wanatigwira tinendo kasira 1 week ku police na mafingerprints yathu ali kwamene kuja ulu ni Lufyengo roba honorable Sylvia Masebo ndiwo amene anakolesa bakapokola kuno chifuka cho konda ndarama.
They further alleged that Ms. Masebo ordered officials from the Zambia Wildlife Authority ZAWA to evacuate the settlers from their land, leaving them to squat on their current space with dilapidated structures which can no longer accommodate them as their population has continued to increase from 450 to over 2,000 families.
Pamene pano pa area tinadaba chewa ona le busu vya maseo kwe sanga in na wantu minutu hata visi hata nuko huko ise kwatu ni kuno pitana taona tubaleka kuno wapezeka kuno 2010 vanabwela na ndani Lictor hapo atinda bokuzani wantu wa Campasa kuti malo ni ya mwine wake mzungu atoka kuti mzungu.
Meanwhile, Chongwe District Treasurer for the United Party for National Development, UPND, Oliver Kubanja, has ordered the people of Campasa to reclaim their land and build safe structures on the land, unlike their dilapidated structures, as the land in mention belongs to them.
Now, pame wanakuvotela vantu. Even pame unabwela mkulira kuno Campasa, mukulira kuno Campasa ati ni voteleni ine vonse vijawa kudara so kuchiteko vintu vinango but tudabwa libwelerapo chabe then nga chabwela pati kuchinja nzeru manje wamba usebenzesa Lictor no usebenzesa wa polisi so ati wa polisi wabwele watugwiri ifwe twagabana kudala twangena kudala vantu vamanga and everything ini landi chabe mzaka isia mama.
Ms. Masebo, however, by broadcast time indicated that she was held up and could not react to the allegations made by the people. Beatrice Chawaya, Camnet News, Chongwe.
There you have it, quite an interesting story there on Campasa. We always recall the episodes of Campasa in some years back when this land was in contestation. We saw the loss of lives in the same process, and we are back at it again with new developments. And in studio, we have taken it upon ourselves to engage the people who are involved in this land matter. And in the studio, I'm joined by Mr. Oliver Kuvanja, who is also Chongwe District Vice Treasurer there under UPND, and we have Mr. Thomas Mulaisho and Mrs. Betty Lungu, who is a Kampasa Community Chair Lady. Welcome to the program, gentlemen and lady there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
To just set the ball rolling, first of all, what is the major bone of contention? I start with you, Mr. Kubanja.
Yeah, you know, let me start at good morning, viewers, those who are viewing right now, and thank you very much for Camnet TV for welcoming us, even to give us this opportunity to view out or to speak out for the issues from Kampasa. You know, Kampasa, it has been a long time now where there have been crying of land. If you recall, some times back, I'll start from 2013, 2012, somewhere there. If you recall, there was an accident where 3 people were killed by ZNS, just there over the issue of land, actually. Then from there, there have been a cry, people have been crying there over just try to make sure that they are Zambians. Then the government must just to help them so that the issue of Kampasa is settled.
Now, Madam Chair Lady, what is the contestation there? Who is the current landowner, and how does the area member of parliament come into this picture of this land issue?
Okay. Kampasa residency was started a long time ago. And my parents were there working as a garden boy to Henry Chipia. And there was other person who was a cooker there. So after 1970 something, 76, Henry Chipia was deported. From we left there and we sat there for a long time. People were coming to squat us and to stay with us there, and we know that land is ours from long time ago. I born there at Kampasa, so I know that place is ours. That's why now we want our place. We decide to go back to our place. And after, it was 2010, we just see Sofia Maseo came in and said, we have come with the Lictor, the one of this place. So people started fighting the Lictor. This is our place, it's not yours, it's not the own farm's place, it's our place. So we starting fighting, and Sofia Maseo bring the police to say this is the land of Lictor. So when asked, we said that this is our land, and we know we have stayed here for a long time, even our parents died here. So this is our land. So we fight with him, and we know the owner of that land is not Lictor, it's Henry Chipia. And Sofia Maseo just invoked Lictor.
Mr. Mulaisho, what your immediate perspective on this subject? What do you want to be done, especially on this matter of land in Kampasa?
Thank you. I'm going to use Bemba so that I can explain properly.
Or Nyanja.
So that everyone can hear what I want to say. First thing, Lekanini Yonge, our able president, HH. You know what? Nikagona so. Nimabwera niganiza. Nimakala touched manini. Because during opposition, the president wanamtema miala manini. Anamtema miara to say no is a satanist, is a what, no, ndiana gulisa country, what, muntu waipa maningi, muntu waipa mtima maningi. But, inendele pente, ndechecha meni pempera. But mukaona, especially ma pastors, wachipente. Bana using maningi ma pastors vato. And the evangelist. Now, mukuwa using kuna ma brown hand rupu what kuna ma activity yambili amenona chitika. Whereby muna pesa kama kings basipeza ku state house kutautua bate collapse all Pentecost system yonse inkale collapse. Now nenzo ganza ati bapente after president apita amba kululina nenzo ganza ati zasitari group so at one tipempe soul ku president. Because CV atrangiza that if HH in Satanist, then he believe that my Satanist wants from Zambia, but I can promote. Why? Because alangiza live Christianity. If you got the Satanist in the moment, imasebenzera. So I'm sure if my Satanist in the other karamba, one chaka pesa kumwamba imba even praise. You see? Then chameni nyopa chukuru maningi. Nakambapo during elections to say tengani ma leaders bamenwaza sutinga na president because president ankala nwanyowani pa throne. So tengani even ma MPs or ministers elect make sure ati so sakaboro kupubika president because president alinwanyu alibe mbili ilionse in politics. Now vanevamba kuchiteka vipezeka kuti naona kuti kansi kambili ma presidents wamankala wa mushi bati bamnamazi nguruka ndiye amankala bantu boipa manini. Mukati muone same system inaru campus inapo azizira ponsa pabwera panari mwakarombe stinaonepo any activity kudi jalanja au campus inankala almost 11 years palibe any activity then two likta simuine walandi ja likta nkiateka panari garunya mwalila sipanankaleko any activity yokambati no bakampasa chokampona pasalandiana babwera Michael mwana wa Garuni abwera mwalila ana mwalila mo sana pishepo ifa kampasa no chokampone hapo ilandi ni yatu iyaye tinazingalira mu mtendere then kwa bwera mu during mwana wasi kwa bwera issue ya maziopa if you can recall kwa bwera issue ya national airport bazenza nankala mlanwe ndipo napana pezeka opportunity yabantu benango amena mafuna kuvutisa abantu andi aba ni Silva Masevu yamena napezeka ndiye enze MP kunali kutenga abantu kubachosa pa airport which is very good because ija program inani ya government sinani ya Silva Masevu sinfra kumita akiuzana banakuka abantu kubapereka ku mikango then two munapo mapezeka utati kuliba lords na okuliba kampasa na leve na suppose kukikisiwa kupereka kuti kumikango. That's two. Then three munapezeka ati muliba maziopa kampasa airport wajananga mlanwe na bamabroko inani semu yenzena siana chepa ngono then inapezeka kunali fraud about 211 ya bakampasa then bakampasa kunali kuwauza kuli Silva Masevu to say if mufuna ningakupempere nkoni kamalo kuli hikta so ati mungapasiwe munkaleko kuja ndiye pamene paja pamene kunali kuzitaya bakampasa and ndiye panangenera weakness pamene paja pakuvomera kuti yes onale bonga tipempere one kunali kukambati na kupemperana within a week anabwereza Silva Masevu na kupangisa meeting na kukambati no na pempa kuti muzapasi wako because we mwine akirema kuti ilandi ni yake. Okay? Then kunali kujua ka portion about ka 20 hectares. Kamenelelo even government ikatati pini ngeni. Iwone bantu mamene bankali. Bankala bantu autati oro no control kolera sunga kwani seya. Even kolera abwera lero meaning kampasa yonse inkala dumdi. And then ma 5 acres ya kumikango aja about 211 nani la mamena naenda siasifika mamena naenda then once wanatengewa including maziopa mabroko roads benze vanapwalala kuti vaende kuta kumikango after vaenda kuja kunali kulaira kuwa disaster management to say tizakumangira nti 2 rooms. That's 1. 2 muzajesewa 6 months majesewa tabe 2. 3 muzakumbiriwa maboholes kuja kuli 1000 plus plots kumikango. Even lelo if government munga taking off mwenda kumikango kuja muzapeza abantu bankala monga sumcharo chao muzambia bankala monga refugees muzambia mucharo chiri chao mungaone zona kutati ichi chintu ni chamushi ba president honestly kwendo tache abantu banali banazinkalira mushe munshi mwapempa kuti no umomene munankala abantu banapato banaimvwi benangu bafera momene munja babalabana na evankala na imvwi mwatenge abantu mchalo chiri chao mwende mukabataye tabe no malods no mans kubasunga tabe kwa mene mwapereka no even vakudya bantu ndiye na bamba life and kulibe kwa na sevenza wao honest ndiye mena masungira abantu sote then ana wapeleka kutanzi ufa masero kulibe kutaendeko bantu kutubangala bwanji kulibe utaka pempe excuse kuti no fertilizer tinakula ilani quite okay but disaster management wanakula ilani but it's ina passive but naona kuona passive almost is it 20 families only out of 1000 plus.
Now Mr. Oliver, have you been making frantic efforts to engage the member of parliament?
You know, I remember when we were in opposition during before elections. You know, we had actually we used to meet with Honorable Masero, just discussing over the issue of campus. Because if you recall, Honorable Masero has been a minister, no, a MP, area member of parliament for Chongwe since 2001. She has been there and she knows what the people of Kampasa goes through. Then in 2011, you know, after people were staying in this land, the other land which now we are claiming right now, and in 2011, Kai, you remember, she was at that time she was in PF. Then after from PF, this one he joined the UPND. Then in 2011, in 2016, she failed to win and mark number 1. So why she failed to win? Because of the issues of the land of Kampasa. So now there's one time where I engaged the people of Kampasa because the people of Kampasa they didn't want her. So I engaged her. I got the people of Kampasa. We had a meeting with her concerning the same land we are talking about here. I told her that, Honorable, the issue of Kampasa, for you to win there in Kampasa, because people of Kampasa, they are not happy with you. The way you treated them, or the way the police treated them from that land where they pushed them to that 20 hectare. So from that time, the people of Kampasa, they are not happy with you. So for you to win, actually, you need to engage them. There must be dialogue with them. And I took the committee there, and I had to take them to Honorable myself. We had to sit like the way we are sitting here. Then I told her that the issue there is that people were pushed from where they were staying and pushed them in 20 hectares. And there, if you go there, there is no even water, and there is no even where they can dig even toilets and everything. So from that time, people, they are not happy with you. So what we should do is that we need to bring them together so that we see the way forward.
Mufuna zingat hectares. What Baba Chared? Ma yamini land yamini ili under contestation. Ni zingat hectares yamini the people of Kampasa are seeking.
In fact, pari no time wali 20 hectares, but imano ya 180 hectares. So 180 hectares tenzo nkalamu. Pamene abwera subya masendi na bwati chinja. Kuti tichoke moja chiende moja. O along tezo nkala bantu ezo na tumaposho ntozilimi na kuzitanjizira mulija eja. so tinankhala muja kuchokera kudala konse mwanenkambira kuchokera kudala konse monga ine washukuru wanga bezosenza kuli Henry Chipia vamuchita jipota hata bwana ni badwa ninabadwa pamene paja pa ranch napeza washukuru wankhala vabwera venango ati joina chitilipo kudala tavenango abwera subya mase vamuza to landili so vamufotokozera ipera so mabicons yonse paka ku airport paka phase 1 mabicons vamushowinga ni aya mabicon ni aya tada bacha sadden kwa bwera minuto bwera bwanji ilandi ni chipi pitana tada bache tingala abwera kwa naona rebo watu nishini MP ngate 2010 tinada bacha bale talikta ndiye mwene wake so mumchokeko ku mubwere ku 20 hectare nikupemphera ni 20 hectare so ndichani chinati dabwisa tankala zaka zambiri na manda panonikamba yalipo yamene anasiya Henry Chipia panafera mwana wake manashika na pa ya depends on kala muzungu amene Henry Chipia palipo
Nanga. Let's see. This has been quite a delicate issue. I want to find out. Have you engaged the Chongwe City Council there as well?
Yeah,
the Chongwe Town Council. Have you managed to engage them? What records do they have about the land ownership there?
Yes, let me come on that. You know, just recently, I wrote a letter to mayor, to the mayor office. And when I wrote that letter, I requested him that the mayor engage the Surveyor General to come on the ground here, because we want to see the demarcation where Galoon ends. Because with this document which I have here right now, this document, Galoon or Richter, they have been getting a mortgage from the bank using the same land we are talking about. You know, if you follow history, that land, it was a water board land where it's just same like
Forest 27.
Yes, it's just the same. So that land was first it was a government land. From 1954, it has been for a government land until 1957, somewhere there. Then the government gave to this called Resbach Michael Arnold's Jones. He's the one who was occupying that land with the hectare of 987.07 90 hectares. At that time, Galoon was he had about 500 hectares. So that land was from 1954. It was just government water board. That land you see. So now, because of that river, Ngwelele stream, as same as that the land we are talking about, this one at
Forest 27.
Yes, it's the same thing. So now, Galoon came in 1976. You understand? There was no any letter, any document from this white man to Galoon. There is nothing. Then 1974, meaning people were already there. They were already occupying that land, because this white man was Michael Arnold's was deported, because there was rumor that he was killing people and was deported by Kaunda at that time. So that land, according to their understanding, that land remained vacant. So Galoon, because Galoon had cattle, so it's like when he had those cattle, so they could go and graze there and whatever. So he got advantage, because it remained like that. He got advantage. I don't know how tricks he did for him to acquire that 987 hectares. I don't know what happens. So now, the surprise that people have been living in that land from the way back, So Galun had to get that land in 1974, of which people are already there.
Let me see if I can get one or two callers just now on the program, in case someone wants to interact with us before we wind up. I know we started a little bit late, and our conversation we should be winding up. And let me see if I can get just one call before we wind up our discussion. Now, talking about land issues, so what are the records that are before the Ministry of Land as well?
Yeah, when we went there for a check, we find that there are some subdivisions, almost 3 titles on the same land, different sizes. So now, which was subdivided in 2016. 2016, they divided this land. You remember where people were chased there in 2013. So subdivision of titles were done in 2016, of which if you follow well, you find that there are no any minutes from council to say that no, Galun now you can subdivide this land. There is nothing. If you go to Ministry of Lands, there is nothing. So now we wonder, where can a person with that big land then subdivided without any minutes from the government to authorize that now you can do these activities? There is nothing. And if you follow well, that subdivision, they were done in pen. It was done in pen. The site plan, is it site plan?
Yes.
Which they did there, it was done in pen. And you remember the regime of PF, the way they were doing things. They were not doing things in the correct way. So that one gives us worry that how can they subdivide a land? Because for them to subdivide the land, they were supposed to even to go and check. Even in even when Galun got this land in 1974, what I know that Ministry of Lands, they were supposed to go there for a survey to see what is there, of which people are already there. So how did they do that for Galun to have a title in 1976? Well, people are already there. Because they were supposed to write a report to say, according to the survey, we have found that there is this and that and that. There is nothing.
Mr. Mulaisho, your concluding remarks, yeah, I don't know if I can pick this call before let's just get this one. I think it has been pending for a while. You are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling you from Kitwe. This is Collins.
Okay, Mr. Collins, you can go ahead for your contribution.
Yeah, yes, please. I just want to contribute concerning the land issue. Yes, I think what they can do, they can go to court, they can collect all the documents which is needed, and the consent letter from the chief, then they can to present the court, they can drop them. I think that is the way to go.
Thank you very much for that advice. They are from Kitwe. I think they have followed your matter keenly, and they are also suggesting what other remedies you can also undertake. Just your concluding remarks, because time is not with us. Okay. I would love to take this conversation further, but we have to wind up.
Okay. I think conclusion yanga, nona monga yenda direct to a president. You know what? The president ungangara wa mtima wa mwisha maningi, wamenofuna leadership yako kwenda smooth maningi. But because of other wajamena wakuzingulusa wana ma interest yao, even po imili la ma interest yao. Because why? Nibweza poverty na zanaka mpapali mwakalomba nkalapo until achokapo kulibe malango zanaliko kujana kunalizi so chapi. Now because kulibenangu banana interest na kudala, because ndiye metena futana na other way. Now our supplies ni utaki kubwera sabe na kuyamba. Then two, after takumana na minister winangu ametena kumana naye, kwa menetina peleka complaint, anatuma phone, kutuma about 7 times no yanka phone, should be 8 times. So kubo yanka kansi nishi pamnana mchita council ikta to say I think ijalandi bantu bankalapo time itali manini kula minister njana mchita council mankalapo time mtali maningi now kupezeka pali type the better bajabantu basire chabe bajabantu mankali and then nikita sana yange pamene hapo anaenda manje mkuita consult after ita consult manje kule honorable Masebo anakalipa then pana anakalipa sana zio kuti pana akambisana na minister uja ise strip kinali mu office and then pana akambisana timvera koma ana akambisana then pana akambisana honorable Masebo could say iwo lina constituency yako why uenda mkukamba constituency yanga then two abo basiye chabe iwo bwere kuno tukumane babiri then minister anakamba no singa kumane babiri because bana problem on wa campus so if ngatufuna kumana naine let tukumane na bantu ba campus ndiye mena najigira na phone so chabe pankala nazi now my supplies why kwambo supporta muzungu instead of kusupporta abantu banakuvotera and kusupporta mazambians because kunkala mu office ya mena uli muona lebo Masebo it's because of us. We fought for you. So that he said, tinkala na mtendele. Manje ifi, iwe ndio uli ku forefront, kwamba uvutisa Mazambians. Do you think if ngati kwankala kuvota futi, we expect honestly zona Mazambians kukuvota? And po kuvota, uziwe na panona pitamo, because bantu, ya mene ikamusango kamene yaka. Njika namara kuyopa bantu. But lero stu more honorable, honestly. Simunga gani izandilelo mkambati ndimo wa Kristo. Ndimo wa pente. Ndiye bana mukamba munachoka ku Catholic. Honestly zona kupenta kwa munaenda kuli muzimu. Kuli muzimu bantu mukamba na matanzi. Na musango wamenewe honestly. Esani kuyanga napo and wa president osa chitangati bantu pamene banankala bakotera pamene paja makolo yawo yapera pamene paja. Muzungu tabo abwera from nowhere then mutenga tabe bantu mupisha mwangali magalo no. Sungani bantu banu mutengere langizani CV yangu kuti zoona ndiwe mkristo president watu and uli kuchechi yamene konka malamulo maningi uli kuchechi yamene konka malamulo maningi so angana mponi pali issue.
Interesting, thank you very much. Madam Betty, your concluding remarks.
In concluding yanga nikamba twatisiye ni malo yatu ya jana bana bakula ero tili bambiri andi kuti mukaone pamene mankala abantu basukwa training akwembekeza kuti tingene muja bali tumanyumba tumuntu chichi baba bine maza wa muzi muja chini baba kulingana kuti bantu shwana nkale bwino 20 hectare yamene banati fondeza bantu shwana nkale that's what naita decide chenti bwele malo mwatu before tikaboita decide tinabata nkala cha after chosa 2013 tinankala tata tizaona mwine wandani wamene akamba tinje mwine wakazangena umu tinapata nkala cha 20 hectare choka 2013 kufika last year tunaona jabe chigireta cha bwera cha gireta tinaenda kutafunza nga pamene mugireta choka kuti ndio kamba iya isabati tuma mama seo kuti tite development kuno Mr. Development vantu wavutika ero ine ndipedza mo problem olomaliro ndiye mvutika ugona panja vantu wavutika Mr. Development vantu wavutika vanatitikana ero wakaboa pasa ponkala leto kuchite development kansi bantiza chita tizangena chape kangeze tizotenze maro yatu sinaziyo tikapena kuliche ulipa teziganda tinirikta kansi anakamba isebati tuma mama soti grade vanatenga na chairman na kwenda kutokamba kuti tizakupa saa 100,000 usakambe kambi tizakujubira kona mara chairman kujana kana na bwera timbera nanuza tiazati pasako 100,000 azijubira na mara tiyo uvomere kupaya bantu bambiri iwo weka umvere bwino pala 100,000 awamina kuti akuitana kuti atazokupa 100,000 ise usaivomera ukaitenga tikupaya ndisi sina mbisi ukatenga 100,000 tikupaya ndisi ndaba 100,000 uzatenga uzaja weka kanyumba pako anga abantu bamene wanachita ero maploti mu 20 hectare abantu papa maploti walipo watatu paploti tisungana kwembeke toti vazati sakirira koenda ameti na shota maro wa Masebo swana tisakirira chokera mwana natipishira mu 2013 sana bwereko sana leteko manzi sana pangeko manzi kuti watu nasi ya bwanji mungaleko na manzi kuna libi sana bondo ticheki ngako so chabe so manje after akambata zampa 100,000 chinati namba zazata palukuruku pamaro yatu desho mnombero tinankhala mati chentingene tauzana bana tingena maro mwatu imosa mimi munavutika tingene chabe tingale kuchira kuti maro azipasa mu 100,000 ero azeta at development isetisao kwa maro tiganza tizatisakira konkala kulibe apa so tikwanisa 10 years mu June pa 30
Thank you very much, Madam Chair Lady there. I would have loved that you go ahead, but we'll continue to follow through this story. We did engage Honorable Masebo on this matter. However, she was not in a position to speak to us, but we'll continue to follow up so that we continue to balance the story, because ours is a platform for objectivity where divergent views are accommodated and opinions matter and every opinion counts. We were talking in studio with the people from Kampasa community who are claiming their land, which they feel it is not fair that land administration in the country has remained a major challenge in that foreigners continue to get a prominence over land in Zambia. People of foreign origin continue to dominate land governance. This is a matter which equally local government minister Garin Kombo has been talking about, and it led to the suspension of the Kafue town council. This is on account of land irregularities. So we'll continue to track this story and follow up with various relevant authorities, including the Ministry of Land. This has been Patrick Soko on the Thursday edition of the Camnet Breakfast Show, Governance and Policy, as well as politics. Until next week when we come on the Camnet Breakfast Show. Stay tuned and keep it on Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.